Hi, good afternoon everyone, and thanks for having me here today, Winston. It's a last minute invitation because someone else from Teach For Malaysia couldn't attend, so I'm a replacement. First of all, my name is Dzameer Dzulkifli, and as a bit quick introduction as well, there was a video about like participating and making sure you participate in your passion. And my passion is not just education broadly, but a very specific part in education, which is developing and building talent in it. So I do my little part by just trying to focus on that area, and hopefully it'll have a bigger ripple effect. So for today's presentation, I'll be sharing with you a bit more where our current thinking is on how we hope to shape the education system moving forward. One point that I want to build on as well is something Ivor mentioned earlier on about we're trying to make a difference in the education system, and just park that aside, we'll come back to that. So introductions to Teach For Malaysia. Teach Malaysia is a not-for-profit organization that is aiming to recruit, train and develop future leaders in the education space. So we recruit top graduates and young professionals from a variety of backgrounds that never considered a career in teaching, and we ask them, hey, be a teacher in an underprivileged school. Cheryl and a few others in the audience, if I can just ask them to put up their hands very quickly, all the fellows, don't be shy. So there's a lot of them here, even the 2015 Lian as well, who just joined and started teaching only 2-3 weeks ago. So a lot of them have come and spoken before around what is the change that they have been making in the classroom. And so far, Teach Malaysia has placed our 4th cohort, and we've recruited a total of 225 fellows in total. We're now in 75 schools, high-need schools, and this is where extreme cases of poverty is even seen. There was a quote here by Cheryl, about half of my kids come from broken families, all of them are below the poverty line. They're so used to being abused and punished that even when I have a present for them, they think they're going to get hit. So quite a shocking reminder around like what are the challenges around poverty. Of that 75 schools, we're in 8 states, and I'm very proud to say that we just expanded to Sarawak this year. It's the second poorest state in the country. Hopefully in 2017 or 2018, we will go to Sabah. Now, when it comes to running Teach Malaysia as a social organization, few challenges came up, and you would always think about would be, can you recruit enough people? Will you have enough government relations support, and do you have enough funds to operate? All of them are challenges. Recruiting, I wish we had actually 300 because there's so many kids out there that need this push, that convincing people is hard, but even harder is convincing fellows' parents. A lot of them say no, and thankfully we do have someone's parents here. Cheryl's dad and mom is here. They thankfully said yes to letting Cheryl do the fellowship. Not many parents are that supportive, but even those that are not supportive in the beginning, they end up being supportive after they hear all the stories and the impact and how passionate their kids are around making a difference to Malaysia. Beyond academic and non-academic impact that fellows make in the classroom, I think one thing that really touches my heart is the unity or the racial integration that's severely missing from our education system at the moment. I saw the video up front and about the floods just now, and immediately I thought like it takes a flood to unite us a bit more and reduce all the racial tensions and barriers. How do we sustain that moving forward? I don't have the answer. But now zooming back out to like the bigger system and away from the classroom is that our whole education system is a big organization, if you think about it, of 420,000 teachers and 6.2 million students. And if you read any business book around transformation or change, the most important aspect is always talent. So how do we keep talent in the system? Now, I'm not particularly concerned around like, should we focus more on technology? Should we teach science and maths in English? I think those are all trivial questions, but the question, because they are better experts at it, but why, once we do decide to teach maths and science in English, or once we do decide to roll out a new system called school-based assessments, why do we hit hurdles? And the hurdles that we hit at the implementation phase is a factor of, do we have the capability and capacity to introduce and implement it at the ground? And is there clear communication channels that go up and down the line? In the long run, I hope Teach For Malaysia fellows and alumni would remain inside and out of the education, but remain committed to the mission. that every child deserves an excellent education. Recruitment is hard. Government relations, even harder. Again, because of this big beast, we have to go up and down of it quite a bit. Now, within the government relations space, thankfully, 2014 was a year that we were criticized non-stop for every little detail, even to a point, even one fellow was almost kicked off the program just because she had a CGPA that was on a 7-point grade instead of a 4-point grading system. So the bureaucracies in that sense was like mind-blowing. Thankfully, just earlier this week, we had a meeting with the Deputy Prime Minister and the Minister of Education too, which is Datuk Sri Juso and Tan Sri Muhyiddin. And they gave like the high-level mandate that Teach For Malaysia needed to continue for the next 5 years and 6 years. We hope to recruit another 920. Thank you. I share this as well because it was quite significant for us, because in October, there's actually an oversupply of teachers in Malaysia, and in October 3 months ago, they considered not placing the fellows because of the oversupply of teachers. But it's only small decision makers, so we always have to go to the top and try to get that strategic long-term thinking going. Thankfully, we're in a good place there for now, and hopefully 2015 is a better year than 2014. Fundraising. Much harder. Going to corporates, and every corporate has a lot of budget for education, but every corporate has a fixed way of what they want to do in education. And among the CSR departments, I don't think they talk to each other about what they're doing in education. I think if the bureaucracy in government, in terms of not coordinated, the private sector are equally accountable for not collaborating and using their resources in a more maximum effort. So Teach Malaysia is a bit challenged and tired of going to corporates for fundraising, so we're going to use the more individual program, and we're going to launch a red campaign coming up on the 5th of February, so watch that space. But the biggest challenge of Teach For Malaysia is actually the mindset of the team. And coming back to what Ivor mentioned earlier on around trying to make a difference, we can't have that mindset. A 2012 alumni, his name is Karthik, was just sitting with me on Friday evening, and we were having a chat, and he says, Dzameer, we lost the sense of urgency and we lost the sense of belief. Why do we use the word try to make a difference instead of we must make a difference, we must change the lives of kids? Because it's not fair that kids are growing up in some of the situations that we're in. And that has caused us to think a lot more about how do we actually take a group of kids and put them on a completely different life track. It's amazing work that the fellows do in terms of changing the lives of kids, the subjects that they teach, but what happens after that? While we're not the Ministry of Education and we can't control everything, we're trying to figure out a way that would take at least a small group and put them into some of the best universities in Malaysia, if not abroad. That's an important factor to show that, first of all, raising the sense of possibility, that change is possible, and putting that burden that change must happen for the children of Malaysia. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to me today, and do log on to Facebook and like Teach For Malaysia.